Prayer is powerful. And today I want to talk about how prayer changed my life forever. It changed my family life. I want to talk to you about what prayer actually can do and what it is. So let's get right into it. Welcome back to Daily Gems. If you're new here, click the subscribe button and continue to follow me for daily motivation. So what is prayer? Prayer is a communication that we have between God, that we share our wants, our needs, and things that we want to have happen. You know, we want God to open doors for us. We have questions that we want answered, and we want to just feel a connection between Him and I, or Him and you. And it's just an open communication that is always there, no matter where you are, whether you're in the car, shower, bed, on your knees, laying in bed, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you're doing, you can start having prayer at any time. You can thank Him no matter what. I thank Him for so many things that I'm grateful for, even when I'm going through things, because I want Him to know even the small things I'm grateful and thankful for, because when those big things enter my life, I want Him to know that I am beyond grateful. I am beyond happy and thankful with the blessings that He have given me before and the blessings that He have given me as of right now. So if you've been searching for God's blessings, some inspiration, and just have answers to whether if prayer works or not, I have a story for you that will open your mindset to believing that prayer works, that it's real, that it can change your life forever if you just believe. When I was pregnant with my son, who is now 18 years old, I was in my 20s. I went into labor on August the 5th, 2007. During my labor, I had severe contractions, but labor came so quick that things just happened unexpectedly. I ended up delivering him in 23 minutes, and after I delivered him, he was blue. And they thought they were going to need respiratory, but they ended up getting him to breathe. However, he was not delivered by the doctor. He was delivered by a nurse. When he was born, they told me at 20 years old that my son was born with an extra finger. They said, we'll just tie it off. Everything will be fine. No need to worry. I didn't worry because I already knew he was in God's hands. But I did think about, how did he end up with an extra finger? I let it go. So anyway, we got home, and I started seeing throughout the days of him being home, I started seeing his eye pus up right here where the tear duct is. And the whole eye would just be filled with pus all day long. I was constantly wiping his eye. It was always being red and irritated. And I called the doctor and I let them know, and they said, well, it's a blocked tear duct. I said, okay, fine. What do I do about it? They said, wait it out, massage it to try to get that blocked tear duct, unblocked. I said, okay, cool, fine. I did that for a couple days. Nothing worked. So finally, they gave me a prescription for his eyes. I gave him the prescription. It was some ointment they wanted me to put on his eyes. I gave him the prescription. I woke up from a nap with him, and his eyes was bloodshot red. I mean, it was like blood clots in his eyeballs. Mind you, he was only a few weeks old. And afterwards, that's when I told them about it, what had happened. I cried my eyes out. I'm telling you, I was crying so hard. I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. What is going on? So I just started praying. I mean, I prayed anyway, but I just continued praying, and I was like, God, please heal his eyes. Please heal his eyes. And so the doctor told us that since it's not healing up, that he's going to have surgery. So the surgeon called, and they booked the date of when surgery was going to be. And during that time, I continuously prayed. So they called the day before surgery, and they said, hi, I just want to let you know surgery is set for this time and this date. Please do this, that, or a third. And I said, okay, but I just want you to know he will not need surgery. You can keep the appointment, but prayer is going to work. So I already know that he's going to be fine. And they said, oh, okay, well, we'll keep the appointment, but we are scheduled for surgery tomorrow. Okay. I said, can you hold off on the surgery? Hold off. Don't take him off the schedule, but can you hold off for a couple more days? I prayed and I prayed and I prayed hard. And I tell you, I prayed on my knees. I prayed in the bathroom. I prayed in the bed. I prayed as many times in the kitchen. I prayed right next to him. I prayed everywhere I could possibly pray for this blocked tear duct to be healed. And long and behold, the next day, I noticed in the afternoon that there was no pus in his eye. And as the day and the night went on, there still wasn't anything. I was scared to say anything because I didn't want to put it out there in the universe. I didn't want the devil to hear me. I just wanted to continue praying. And I said to God, I said, and I didn't say it out loud. You ever have a prayer that you pray within? I didn't say it out loud, but within I said, you know what, God? I thank you for healing his eye. I thank you so much for healing his eye. The next day, his eyes was healed. His eye was healed. The blocked tear duct was no longer blocked. There was no more pus. He was all right. So I know that prayer works because it worked for me. Not just one time for him, 3 times. The second time was my son ended up starting medication. He has a learning disability. He had behaviors in school. I didn't know what to do. And he had started school at 5 and they just were having a hard time. I did not believe in medication. I heard so many stories about medication, but it was so hard for me to work and, a lot of people, family members, and things were getting in my mindset. And I was like, what if I'm hindering him more than I'm helping him? So I decided to start him on some medication. I started him on the medication. And during the time of him taking the medication, he had severe outbursts. I mean, he bit through my cell phone. He was just irate. He was just, in a way, very aggressive. Thought I was going to have to take him to the hospital, but he was able to calm down with my love and affection and nurture. Anyway, time went on. I went on when he was about 7 years old, and I said, okay, that medication didn't work. He's about to be put out of school. I don't know what to do besides to teach him from home, do homeschool, and I can't afford to do that. I have 2 other kids that I have to take care of. I have bills. I have to work. So anyway, the psychiatrist prescribed him Intunitive and 10X. They tried both, and when it started with the 10X, it seemed like it was working a little bit. It wasn't a stimulant. The ones he was on before were stimulants, so it didn't agree with him. If you know anything about these medications, they have amphetamines in them. So it's drugs, pretty much. It's meth and all types of drugs, but it's a better version of the drug. I hate to say it like that, but it helps other kids. But it didn't work for him. He reacted to it. Anyway, during that process of him starting the 10X, it was only 2 days that he had started. He went outside and played, and then he came back in, and I was sitting in the recliner, and I was just looking at him, and he said, my head hurt, I want to take a bath. Well, he didn't understand. He's so used to me saying, all right, come on, bath time, and then after bath time, you go to bed, go to sleep, you need to get some rest. So he said, okay, Mom, my head hurt, I want to take a bath. I think I'll feel better. Not realizing that he's not understanding that the tub bath won't make him feel better, especially for what we're about to go through. He's referenced it to rest. Anyway, I didn't allow him to take a bath. I said, you'll be okay. Drink some water. Sit in here with me for a while. And he did. Then I said, do you feel better? And he said, yeah, I want to go outside and play. He went back outside and play. At that time, I told all the kids to come in. They came in. He was the last child to walk behind my other 2. As he walked through the door, I looked at him and I saw there was no life in him at all, just about. I grabbed him and he fell back in my arms. I was scared, but I worked in a hospital, so I was used to a lot of things at this point. I was in healthcare since I was 18. And I checked his pulse and I didn't feel one, barely. I laid him down on the couch in a quick reaction because I didn't have a stethoscope with me or a pulse ox. And I listened to his chest and I didn't hear anything, hardly. It was just like boom, boom, boom. I hurried up and took him to the hospital. Now in this car, while I'm driving him to the hospital, I was worried, but not scared. I knew that he was going to be okay. And he was sitting in the back seat as if he had got some energy and was okay. And when we got to the hospital, I told them that I can barely hear his heartbeat and I think something's wrong. And so they rushed him to the back. When he got to the back, they did an EKG. Come to find out, he was in second-degree heart block at 7 years old. Second-degree heart block basically means that your heart is barely pumping and that his heart rate was at 50, was within 50, 53. Anyway, they flew him out to the hospital, another hospital, and they were worried. And that's when I started to get worried because I worked on the heart floor, cardiac floor, and I know that your heart rate that low, you could need a pacemaker. So I'm like, what would they do for a child at this age? It could only be medication because he's never had any heart issues before. And prior to him starting any medication, he had an EKG. Anyway, they said it wasn't the medication. It's no way. Now, mind you, before I started him on any medication, there is blood tests that you can do to see if what medication works best for the child. So the medication that he was on supposedly was supposed to work for him. I prayed and 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 I was scared and I was just, worried and just didn't know. And I was by myself at this hospital because no one could stay there but me. And we lived an hour and a half away. So there was no family. His dad had to take care of my other children. So I had no one, basically. No one that was close to me. At that time, my son started to come out of this heart block all by himself. No medications, no nothing. He came out of this heart block because of prayer. I know it was because of prayer. We were able to go home and he was okay. Didn't have any more issues after that. That's two. That's 2 times I prayed and God came through. And that was when he was born, 7 years old. Now let me speed it up to 9 years old. When he was 9 years old, he was diagnosed with precocious puberty, which means his hormone level is higher than his age level. His hormone level and his bone graph was stating that he was 13 years old. At this time of me finding out this information, you can begin to know exactly how I felt as a mother, raising 3 children, a single parent. Their dad was involved, but not as involved as I felt like he should. I'm feeling like it seemed like it's one thing after another. It's like nothing will ease up. But one thing I'm holding on to is things could have been so much worse. He could have not been here. And then I would have lost a child. So I'm grateful and thankful that God allowed my son to make it through. Not 1 time, but 2 times so far. So I know that he's going to make him through this 3rd time for sure. Anyway, we had to get some blood work done. We had to do a PET scan because they want to make sure with this disease, you can have a tumor on your brain, a tumor on your adrenal glands, and you can have so many other things going on. I won't say where his tumor was located because it's probably not appropriate. but you can begin to know what I'm saying of where it was possibly located. Anyway, he didn't show any signs of cancer in his body. I'm praying hard at this time, like more than I ever prayed in my life. I'm praying hard. I mean, I am really worried and crying because I don't understand what this is, and I don't know why my baby has to continue going through so much. But you know, the devil will come through your kids to try to get to you. He will make your life a living hell through your children because he don't want God to bless you with the things that God has yet to come for you. So always be alert. Always be alert on how the devil is planning on trying to come through others. He come through your mother, your father, your cousins, your brothers, your children, anyone, your co-workers, anyone he can get through to get to you, to stop blessings and what God has for you, to stop the journey that you're meant to go on. All right. So they call me and they say, no cancer, but there is a tumor. We've had 3 doctors look at this and we see a tumor. So they called me. Listen to this. They called me the day before Christmas, which is Christmas Eve, to let me know this. I remember being in the kitchen, cooking, getting everything ready because I had my dinner Christmas Eve. And I received this call. And it was on a weekend at that. And she said, we have to do emergency surgery. And we're going to have to do it on the 26th of December. So the day after Christmas. So I am in a way. I'm like, I got to make this Christmas special for my son because he has to have surgery. And this is a major surgery, not no little surgery. This is major surgery. Anyway, we get there on the 26th. It's an hour and a half away. All of my family is there. His father, my children. My daughter was crying so hard. And she called him her baby because she's 4 years older than him. So she called him her baby. And he was like a baby to us. And I think it was more so I felt like even though he was the baby child, the baby boy, I felt like he needed more nurture because he had a learning disability and he was going through so much. So anyway, they took him back for surgery. Now, mind you, I've been praying so hard. They took him back for surgery and they come out. But before they went in, they told me the surgery was going to be an hour and a half long. I was scared of surgery. I have not ever had surgery, so I was scared of anesthesia and all those things. I had all my children natural because I'm scared of all of that stuff. And I just can't eat epidurals. I'm not for it. I don't want none of that. So I was already a little scared about just him being under anesthesia. But no matter what, I prayed hard. And I believed in my prayer that God is going to allow him to be okay. Okay, yeah, y'all found a tumor. Yeah, you found a tumor. But I know that in the end, everything's going to work out for my son and for myself. And I want to say something. All of a sudden, while I was saying this, the light got brighter in this room. And there is no sunshine right now outside. There is pouring rain. Pouring down outside right now. There is hardly any sunshine, but I felt like the light got brighter. Just some things I think of, because God, I'm telling you, God is so real. God is so real. God is so real. So anyway, they come out after 20 minutes and they say, I just want you to know everything is fine. He's in recovery. And I'm looking at the lady like this. Okay. What happened? So she says to me, during surgery, there was no tumor. We did not find a tumor. There were three doctors that said they saw a tumor. And during surgery, they took out everything. And they opened my son up, and God took that tumor away. There was no cancer, no tumor. And I'm telling you, God is real. God is good. God allowed my son to be A-okay in all three of those situations. So don't you say that prayer is not real. Believe in the process of prayer. Believe in what prayer can do and what prayer does when you just keep the faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. No, they didn't say that it wasn't a tumor when they said it was a tumor, but I believe that there was no tumor. I believe that God was going to work everything out, and there wasn't going to be a tumor or cancer, and that he wasn't going to have to go through anything. And look at God. God made it all work out. They were even surprised. I'm sure they were like baffled. And to know that I prayed for all three of those situations, you can't tell me that prayer isn't real. So prayer works. So believe in the power of prayer. Believe that God will answer your prayers no matter what you're going through, no matter the situation, no matter the challenges. There is power in prayer. Believe me, I done told you 3 stories, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. There is power in prayer. Believe it. Have faith. Know that no matter if you're a sinner, no matter where you pray, no matter what is taking place in your life right now, God is going to work it all out. He's going to work everything all out. You just have to believe and keep the faith. Don't stop praying. Don't stop believing. Even if they found a tumor, I would not have stopped praying. And I still pray for my son. I pray for all my children every night. The grown ones, the young ones, I pray for all of them every night. Even the children that they're connected to. Even the relationships that my older kids are in. I pray for their family. Because the enemy, I just told you this, the enemy can come through other people in your children's life to try to make your life and their life a living hell. So I want to make sure I'm covering as many grounds as possible for me, my children, my family, and the people that I'm around, even my coworkers. I'm praying for you all. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you that's watching. I'm praying for you because I love you. I care about you. You're my sister. You're my brother. No matter the race, no matter the situation, I will not judge. I will not. So keep praying. Believe in the power of prayer. And I just want you to know that tonight, when you lay your head down and it hits your pillow, I want you to remember that you don't just pray for yourself. You pray for everyone that is in your life. Friends, cousins, brothers, sisters, they're even your brother's girlfriends, their wives. Pray for all of those people because they're in your life. They're part of your life. So you need to make sure you stay prayed up, and you need to make sure you pray for those who are around you so that that prayer can go full circle. And when you receiving your blessings and your joy, peace, and happiness, they'll be receiving it with you full circle. There won't be any room for jealousy. There won't be any room for any negative thoughts to enter because you're praying for good things to come everyone's way. You're praying for things to work out for everyone. So keep the faith and believe. And I hope you enjoy this video. I really do. Enjoy your day. My love. Enjoy your day, gems.